What's going on, guys? We have the Teamfight Tactics 10.15 patch notes. As a brief overview, we have buffs to Darius, Graves, Jinx, Lucian, Master Yi, Urgot, and Victor, and nerfs to Janna, Jarvan, Jhin, Rakan, and Xerath. Next up, we're reworking the Galactic Armory and removing the Nicoverse and adding in a new planet called the Plunder Planet. And I'll go into some strategies on how to play this galaxy so that you could use that in your next games. Now onto the systems. The new galaxy Plunder Planet, all champions have a chance to drop a coin on death, especially the first few. Nicoverse has been removed from the game, and Galactic Armory has now been adjusted. All players now get the same 3 item components rather than 2 completed items. So let's go into how to play the Plunder Planet. So I've heard from the game developer, Mortdog, that each player has a pool of gold that they can get after killing a champion. So the more you kill, the less likely you're going to get gold on your next kill. That also means if you don't kill anything in the first few rounds, in the later rounds, when you get a kill, you'll have a much higher chance of getting a coin on death. So essentially what this means is you want to try to win streak on this galaxy in most cases, because gold is more important the earlier you get it, and this is because of how the interest system works and how low the leveling thresholds are early games. So the more gold you get early, the better. We already know that. So pretty much on this planet, you just want to try to win streak as hard as possible and pretty much just use that to get as much gold as possible. Other than that, I can't really dive too deeply into it because no one has really played any competitive games on this planet, but on a first glance, that's how I would go ahead and approach this galaxy. So now let's get into the trade. Celestial got changed from 20 to 15% healing at 2 Celestial, which is the first level of the trait. This is a pretty good nerf, I'd say, because so many comps can just splash into Celestial. It's just like Rakan, Ashe, and Lulu late game if you really need it. No one ever really went for Celestial, so I'm glad they didn't touch that at all. Personally, I go for Celestial sometimes if I get the Celestial Spatula, because then you could run Rakan, Lulu, Ashe, plus the Spatula. You could also run Xin Zhao, but I tend to not play him in the late game. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this change. It doesn't nerf it too hard. And like it's still usable, you get a tiny bit of lifesteal, but it doesn't completely make it useless. So now onto the champion balance. Graves smokescreen, blind duration, it's getting increased by 1 second at all levels. That's pretty big because that's how big it was before, because they nerfed this ability in the past. And yeah, hopefully we'll see more Graves. No one really plays him. No one really plays Pirates early game either, so it is kind of strange. Graves used to be the best early game champion. Maybe that brings him back into that state. Jarvan bonus attack speed on his flag is now reduced by 25% at levels 1 and 2 and 20% at level 3. This is pretty major change. You'll notice that even at level 3, it only gives the attack speed of him at level 1. So he should still stay as tanky as he is now, but now he just doesn't buff your team as much as he did in the past. I still think Jarvan's going to be a good champion. This isn't going to make him completely useless, because I think most of his benefits were from his tankiness, both from Warmogs, both from him being only a 1-cost unit, and him being able to just cast his flag over and over. Even though this does seem like a sizable nerf, he still buffs your team by quite a bit, so he's still going to be more useful than like a Mordekaiser in a Dark Star composition. So next up we have tier 2 champions. Darius buffed both health and mana. Oh wow, this is the biggest change is a mana change, because now that means he's going to cast that much quicker on his first and second cast. Because sometimes his first cast doesn't kill anything, but if he gets his second cast off really quickly after that, he's going to get resets much faster. So Pirates got a huge buff this patch. Expect to be playing them a little more than you have been in the early game, if not a lot more. Lucian also got a buff by 5 mana. And he also gets more damage on level 1, level 2, and level 3. Wow, his level 3 is really, really buff. That's a big damage increase. It's now double what his level 2 is. So I'd say Lucian level 3 might be worth pursuing if you're going like a cybernetic build. Maybe there's some sort of reroll cybernetic build with Lucian and Vayne carry, and maybe you roll down at level 7 for both of them instead of going for Aurelia or Echo carry. It gives cybernetics more options. I have no idea if it's going to be good. This is a lot of damage, but again, it could just be terrible, and Echo carries just that much better. Echo is a super good unit, so you'd still always want to play Echo. So next up we have Rakan, 50 health nerf, perfectly fine. He's always been the best protector at 2 costs. He's much better than Xin Zhao. You pretty much never want to play Xin Zhao over Rakan, so this is a great change. And going on to the tier 3 champions, Ashe starting mana reduced by 10. I don't think that's going to change much about Ashe because some of her issues is that with Shojin, she's just going to get her second cast off really quickly anyways. So while this does slow her down slightly, I still think she's going to be super strong. Mastery, armor increase, and magic resistance increase. That's a pretty big change. This means Shaco can't just one-shot Master Yi in the backline, and also, like, some Syndra ult might not just kill Master Yi right away if he hits her early. So maybe we're going to see the 6 Blade Master comp make a comeback. I don't think so, just because right now Master Yi's lacking a lot of damage because Master Yi does true damage, and there's a lot of Warmogs in the meta right now, so Master Yi is not going to be too strong in that type of metagame. But he is really good against 6 Vanguard or like the 4 Mystic build, so maybe we'll see him around for countering that comp. Next up is Nico. Her starting mana got increased and her total mana got increased. That means her first cast is the same, but her second cast is now delayed by 10 mana. This is a very good change because I feel like she should just be like a slightly nerfed, but this doesn't completely break her. I really like this a lot. Vayne attack damage increase. That's another buff to cybernetics. Next up, we have the 4-cost champions. Jhin's 4-shot damage is now changed so that there are 4s everywhere. This is overall a buff from the last time he got touched because he got buffed to this amount and now he's getting nerfed to this amount. Before he did 244 damage, 444, and then 4,444, I'm pretty sure. So overall, over the past 2 patches, this is a buff, but in the past patch, this is obviously a nerf. Jinx's attack speed on the first takedown is now increased at levels 2 and level 3 by 5% and 25%. So the 3-star one doesn't really matter, of course, because no one really gets 3-star Jinx. But this at level 2, that's a very small buff, which is fine. I like this because Jinx, I don't think she's that weak. I think everything else is just super, super strong. So that's why she's not being played as much on 10.14. So this buff on 10.15 makes complete sense. And it's very, very minor. I'm liking this patch so far. Soraka Wish Healing reduced at level 1, reduced at level 2 by 50. So Soraka's, yeah, she's pretty good, right? She works so well with Janna late game, so she's always going to be the go-to Mystic choice whenever you play Janna because you could add in Star Guardian really easily. And yeah, in the Vanguard Mystic comp, Soraka obviously is devastating. She's one of the best champions of that composition just because the effective health of each of those champions means so much more. And when she heals them for a bunch, it's just going to be a very big swing for that team in each fight. So Victor, total mana reduced by 10. Whoa. I don't know about this. So they reduced Victor's damage before in the last patch, but now they're reducing his mana to compensate for that. But doesn't this make blue buff absolutely insane on Victor now? I'm kind of scared of that. Because going from 70 to 60, if you have a blue buff, that means you go from like needing 40 mana to 30 mana. That's like a 25% decrease, which is pretty big. And we all know mana is the most important stat for every champion in Teamfight Tactics. So I'm kind of scared of this. But at the same time, Victor hasn't been played at all on 10.14, so maybe he really needs this. But since they're nerfing everything else and buffing him, it might be a little too much. I can't really tell quite yet. So now for the tier 5 champions, Janna starting in total mana. She just got her starting mana nerfed by 10. This is perfectly fine. That means level 1 Janna is pretty much absolutely worthless. Right now, she's already pretty worthless, so now with the 10 mana nerf, she's going to be even worse than she is now. Obviously, level 2 Janna is still going to be really good. Xerath, health decreased by 50, and Xerath starting mana decreased by 10. I don't think Xerath is that strong, honestly. I feel like if they wanted to touch Darkstar, they should have nerfed Shaco a tiny bit. They nerfed Jhin a tiny bit as well, so maybe that might be enough in combination with the Xerath nerf. But I think like Shaco's the big issue. But I kind of like playing Shaco, but I do feel he's a bit too strong because he just needs 2 sword items and then he just solos the mid game. So now let's go on to the bug fixes. Nocturne's unspeakable horror damage now properly interacts with Quicksilver Sash. He won't fear the target, but the damage will go through. Match history should now show items for everyone instead of just first place. The delay at the end of the round has returned, giving... Wow. You guys notice on this patch, whenever you play a game and then you go to the neutral rounds, the rounds end really, really quickly. They actually fixed that. This is the best change of the patch, no lie. Because that was one of the most infuriating things. Tiebreakers should now do math properly if someone went into overtime. Okay, yeah, I heard of some people complaining about this before, so luckily they fixed all that. So overall, it's like a small to medium patch. The only big change is the Jarvan change, in my opinion. Everything else, like, they didn't really touch anything else. So overall, pretty decent changes, I think. It should keep the game very similar to how it is now, but nothing is going to like go out the window. You know what I'm saying? So maybe we won't have as many Darkstar players or Protector players every game, but it's not going to completely flip the meta on its head. So what I'm most curious about is the Galactic Armory and Plunder Planet, because Galactic Armory, I didn't talk about that yet, but I hated Galactic Armory just because it was so difficult to play for me, because it felt like a lot of the games were just whoever hit the champions for whatever items were dropped on that map. So now that they only give 2 components, I feel like that's a much better way for players to adapt. Though I do like the concept of the old Galactic Armory in theory, but in practice I just didn't like it at all. But yeah, that's it for today. Again, small patch, so the game shouldn't change too much as to what we're currently playing right now, but I'll see you guys on Friday for the meta snapshot. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below, and if you like the video, go ahead and hit the like because that helps me out a ton. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll see you guys Friday.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to share and subscribe, and of course smash that like button. Each like is an LP I gain before the next video.